All right, you need to get, okay.
No different. Requires fixing
Apparently the power flickered here, the little flickers.
That's all right. Let me know when you're ready. All good, all good? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the hour's arrived. Let's call this meeting to order. And, we're gonna ask Brother Dwayne Johnson, if you will, to give the invocation, please.
Sure. God, we come before you today, and we ask you to look down upon us, give us wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions to handle the city business. Lord, we ask you to bless this city, the state, our nation, our soldiers that's on the battlefield. We ask you to bless those that are sick and bereaved and shed in. These things I ask in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, you've got the agenda before you. Are there any requests for additions or modifications of the agenda in any way? That's great. I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffin's made the motion that we approve the agenda as written, and Mr. Johnson, I believe, seconded the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Gentlemen, we've got our work cut out for us. I won't, since Tony Rossi just come in, and he's trying to catch his breath, he's the first report update on golf course from Tony. I want to preface a little thing before he gets up here. I'm mostly doing this to give him just a little bit of time, because I know that he's been pushed here in the last few minutes and all day, really for the last 2 months, really. This man has gone out to a golf course that had, when he got out there, there had been no herbicides, no fertilizer, no water, the watering system out there. There was just all sorts of things that was dumped into his lap. And if ever a new employee, I want to commend him now, I may ask y'all to approve firing him here sometime later, but right now, I have never in my life had a man to come on a job and put his whole life into it to try to, we're right in the middle of right at this time, back in January, February, March, a lot of things ought to have happened there with weed control and herbicides and fungicides and water and a lot of things that weren't done. And he came in here when it ought to be beautiful, everything lush, starting to try to do all these things. And the man has worked extremely hard. And he's asked me for, he asked me a little while ago for a reprieve to give him a little bit more time to get things together. But Tony, I want you to come up here because you have to use this mic. And just briefly and relax, tell the people sort of what you found, what you've been able to do, and where you think we are as a golf course. And don't hold anything you want to say, say it. We're delighted to have you. This is, he's taken over the headache of that golf course out there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council members. So, as it's already been prefaced, it hasn't been an easy task. It's been monumental. However, we have a very viable golf course. Just a lot of TLC is needed in a lot of places. And it's difficult to swallow some mismanagement in some places. Even our equipment. We have the best equipment money can buy for a golf course, and at a fair price, but it's got to be maintained, and it's got to be used for the purpose that it's intended to be used for. So, also as far as, the only really thing that's been costly is the irrigation. We have a very antiquated irrigation system. We don't have an ineffective irrigation system. We have an irrigation system that 60% of it was buried, viable, but buried underground. So I've dug it all up. I can't thank Carl Leggett enough. I can't thank the mayor enough. They've supported me 110%, and I assure you that we've done what's needed to be done out there for a third of the cost of what bids we got. I saw one bid for $25,000, and that was ridiculous. I don't think we've spent more than $1,500 out there, and we've got 65% of it operational. So that's huge. That's huge. But that is maintaining 24/7. That's double watering because of the heat. Once we get the system out there, you know, you won't be paying me to go out there and water at night. We'll be able to take care of that. Other than that, you know, personnel, I've hired 2 women that have management experience, that are adult in age, and that can handle the register, you know, can handle the flow of people. I mean, on every level. Our products, we're making 100% profit of anything we sell, whether it's candy bar, soda. I introduced an energy drink that the kids like, that's safe. It's not, you know, it's not outrageously toxic or anything. We're making 90%, 90 cents profit on every can we sell. So I've just had to address everything from every level. The locker rooms, men's and women's locker rooms, were in bad, you know, no lighting, dirty, unkempt. They've all been cleaned up. You walk through there now, you know, you smell like, you know, smells like you're at home. Fresh smells, things are good, lights are on. So, you know, I mean, that's all I can really tell you. I've just addressed everything from every level, cost effective and efficiency. That's, if we just keep going down that route, we'll be fine, you know. And if you have questions for me, that's probably the best thing.
The sprinkler system wasn't on a timer?
Sir, what happened was, at some point in time, we've talked to everybody we possibly could, and what you had happen was you did have an electronic system, but you weren't using it at night. Years ago, they were doing that. Recently, as probably a year ago, it was not possible to be used because 60% of that system was buried underground. So a novice or someone who's not familiar with that type of system would come and turn on a button. If you went to turn on that light expecting the light to be on, but the wires weren't connected, you wouldn't have lighting. Well, this is a system that the electronics is saying, let me out and let me shoot up water, but I'm buried 3 inches under grass and dirt. And so what happens is when all that energy is trying to expand itself and it doesn't work, it shorts out the circuit board. Then we call an electrician and say, oh, our system's broken. Now we're paying an electrician to fix a board that can't work because it's buried. So there's just a lot of, you know, then you had a gentleman who was stressed out that said, well, I can't fix this sprinkler, so I'm just going to put a cap on it. Now a third of your fairway's not getting watered. So the summer comes and you got brown grass. And you say that we're not maintaining the course, but that's not what's going on. The systems are being mismanaged.
Anything else for Tony?
I appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks.
We appreciate you, Tony.
I want to say that I appreciate very much what you're doing. Y'all know me very much, that I have sat here for a long time, and I have jokingly said that we need to put some goats out there to be able to get some profitability out of it. I don't think that next year we're going to be able to say that we're going to make a major profit off of our golf course. I'm just looking at within 2 years that we can break even. I am tired of seeing our city lose $100,000 a year to something for a novelty situation. Yes, we need the golf courses as an attraction for people in our community. Our school system needs it for the golf team and such as that, but we do not need as a city to lose $100,000 a year on a golf course to maintain it for other people. I do believe that even that the ones that are using it as so-called members out there, that the largest percentage of them are in the county. They are not in the city. I have gone off on my spiel to say this, to say that I think that we need to start looking with a closer eye, and if we're in a hole, we don't need to keep digging.
Did you want me to address that, sir?
Go ahead.
So, that's also part of the mismanagement system, you know. Any viable system has to be realistic. Golf courses are not cheap. We can't fall under the guise that just because we're only a 9-hole course, that we should be treated differently than an 18-hole golf course. You still have to maintain 9 holes of golf, 9 holes of fairway. If you look realistically at the scorecard, that's a 7,000-yard course, 6,995 yards. What it really should have been termed was an executive golf course. But we don't have the demographics to call it an executive golf course. So what you have is somebody saying, oh, well, it's a city-run course, it's only 9 holes, so I should be able to play it for $10. That's the farthest thing from the truth. There's a very fair price that can be paid for the course. We believe that for 9 holes it's around $14, and we believe that the current price that people are paying to play for 18 holes to do those 9 holes twice is $25. And we believe it's fair to maintain that $25 for 18 holes, but we believe we need to go to $14. We believe that an individual membership is not sustainable. We do have corporate members, and we appreciate that, and we're going to keep those guidelines. We're going to work with those people. We absolutely want that coming our way, because it's for the kids. It's, you know, the guy at corporate that comes in and gives me $1,500, $3,000, hell, he doesn't even play golf, you know. But we can put that money towards the kids, and that's what it's about. So, yeah, we want those funds. But the individual that wants to come and play for $10, that's not going to get it. You know, it's just not. We don't have the demographics, and it's not viable to do it.
So the golf board, they stand abreast as to the monetary income out there? Because I was thinking that the golf association or the golf board would manage it and would keep this up. You see, just like those sprinkler system, way back when I got on here, that was a biggie, and we spent a bunch of money to get those sprinklers, and I know people used to run over them, used to hit them. I could never understand how you could run over them and hit them and break them when they supposed to pop up and go down. And then when I hear you that say they wasn't working, I said, well, what happened to all that money that was going out there? So the golf association, it keeps up the fees. Are they abreast to this to set the fees to compensate how much is going on?
Well,
am I answering the right question?
You want me to address that some for you, Tony?
Go ahead.
You want to do it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Councilman Johnson, the only thing I can tell you, having been here just under 90 days, I've read intimately all the guidelines that the golf committee, as they call themselves, had set forth. It's convoluted at best. In one paragraph, they would set the standards. In another paragraph, they would not intervene in the standards that the management set, and that they were to advise. And so I have no previous information unless I went back and looked at some meeting notes.
But they are advising and all helping with all that. They stand a part of the running of the golf.
You would think so, yes, sir.
Okay, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think I would be negligent if I didn't insert a little bit here. Tony, stay there if you will. At the last monthly meeting of the golf course, there was some confusion as to some of these problems. There was a little misunderstanding, and the chairman of the golf course got up and said he had had enough, and he walked out and left the meeting. And a day or two later, 2 or 3, 4 days later, I got a letter from him that the entire, what we thought was an advisory committee, had resigned and left the golf course. Since that time, the chairman of the golf that wrote that letter and came in and gave it to me has come back in my office and said, Mayor, I want you to know that mostly the golf committee didn't do a lot that I got out and raised all the money, and they were there to sort of help a little bit. But he said, we haven't been functioning as an advisory committee, we haven't helped with the herbicide, we haven't helped with the fertilizer, we haven't helped with the irrigation system, we haven't really got involved a whole heck of a lot with the finances. And he said that I don't think we have done what we should have been doing, and I don't think you've lost a heck of a lot in losing us. He said at the same time, I think all of us love the golf course, and we realize that we've been, and I'm quoting Linwood, the chairman, he said, I'm here, and he came in and helped me with a lot of things and that we, Tony and I, and all have been working on lately. He says, I'm still here to help, and I know the other members of the golf committee that's been out there will help you in any way they can. So I think we've all acknowledged our neglect and what's going on. And in reality, and Mr. Linwood Truitt, the chairman, said this, we've been more of a golf club out there as a golf club promoting our little tournaments and whatnot, more than we've been in detail with the irrigation, with the chemicals, with who's paying what, the dues up to date, getting more members. So at any rate, I think everybody has understood that I'll tell you this, I, as the mayor, have neglected the golf course. I had other things to go on, and I thought with that committee and whatnot, I neglected it. And when I got out there and finally found that the help we had could not formulate the chemical applications that needed to put out to control weeds, I realized that the formulas that we had an expensive $15,000 sprayer out there that nobody knew how to use. We had all sorts of fancy equipment was there and it wasn't being cared for. So we, me as mayor and this council, have turned it over to a group of people who really were not capable. They were not chemists and fertilizer specialists and electricians and whatnot to handle that thing. And we've all neglected it. And this man is coming now that we've got everything going. I think, Mr. Ramey, that we can put that thing back in a lot more sound financial footing, and that's what we're trying to do.
I respect Tony for what all he has taken under wing there as a challenge, and it is a major challenge. I'm hoping that we can get some things done there.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions for Tony?
Well, I just, not in this meeting, I may talk to the mayor and you. The reason I'm a little, that's it. I reserve my right to go back to the mayor. I'll talk to you later. No, I got to get it over.
I think you should. I think you should. I could sleep tonight.
The reason I'm asking,
yes, sir.
The reason I'm asking, see, when you set up boards, you just can't drop those boards. I wasn't a big proponent of doing.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the hour's arrived. Let's call this meeting to order. And we're going to ask Brother Dwayne Johnson, if you will, to give the invocation, please.
Sure. God, we come before you today, and we ask you to look down upon us, give us wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions to handle the city business. Lord, we ask you to bless this city, this state, our nation, our soldiers that's on the battlefield. We ask you to bless those that are sick and bereaved and shed in. These things I ask in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, you've got the agenda before you. Are there any requests for additions or modifications of the agenda in any way? That's great. I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffiths made the motion that we approve the agenda as written, and Mr. Johnson, I believe, seconded the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Gentlemen, we've got our work cut out for us. I want, since Tony Ross has just come in, and he's trying to catch his breath, he's the first report update on golf course from Tony. I want to preface a little thing before he gets up here. I'm mostly doing this to give him just a little bit of time, because I know that he's been pushed in the last few minutes and all day, really for the last 2 months, really. This man has gone out to a golf course that had, when he got out there, there had been no herbicides, no fertilizer, no water, the watering system out there. There were just all sorts of things that was dumped into his lap. And if ever a new employee, I want to commend him now, I may ask y'all to approve firing him here sometime later, but right now, I have never in my life had a man to come on a job and put his whole life into it to try to, we're right in the middle of it, right at this time, back in January, February, March, a lot of things ought to have happened there with weed control and herbicides and fungicides and water and a lot of things that weren't done, and he came in here when it ought to be beautiful, everything lush, starting to try to do all these things, and the man has worked extremely hard, and he's asked me for, he asked me a little while ago for a reprieve to give him a little bit more time to get things together. But Tony, I want you to come up here because you have to use this mic, and just briefly and relax, tell the people sort of what you found, what you've been able to do, and where you think we are at the golf course, and don't hold anything you want to say, say it. We're delighted to have you. This is, he's taken over the headache of that golf course out there.
Doing this from the beginning, because we were supposed to just start off real slow with that golf course. That's what we told our people. We formulated a board to run the golf course. If that board wasn't capable of doing it, I would hope us being a smaller town that they'd come back and say, guys, we got to tag out him, we can't tame him. And then that the city got back in there. I didn't know that the no board was not there now. So some things when it deal with employees, I don't like to talk to it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was taught in Athens, don't handle employee stuff in this meeting. Sometimes those things need to be handled in executive session. But with this board, if we formulated it, I think that they should have talked to the mayor. The mayor should have talked to us. Something, if they ain't out there, am I understanding that y'all say the board is no longer functioning?
They resigned, they put a letter of resignation.
So
They're not employees, they're volunteers.
But so, do we get another board?
I don't know.
See, that's why I think there's some legal stuff you might need to look at, seriously.
I understand that. And Rhonda, would you mind, you're always very open-minded with what you're doing, and being a member of the board, would you like, with what you've heard, can you make any comments at all, or you want to keep your mouth shut?
I will speak on behalf of Rhonda. First off, I missed last meeting because my dad was in the hospital. So I was not there to witness what all took place. I only know what I heard. I'm not going to repeat any of that. I will say, as an advisory board, we was not to run the golf course. We was an advisory board only. We came up with ideas, such as golf tournaments and this and that and the other. As far as pesticides and herbicides and all that, we never, ever got involved in that. You have to be licensed.
Right.
To, be able to get that stuff and apply that stuff to the ground. So, I do know that before Natasha left, there were some things that having some employees out there and having some of the advisory board members, someone needed to oversee the guys to make sure that some things was taking place. And Linwood was working with this board, with the mayor being at our meetings, and Natasha had even came to our meetings to try to reword our charter,
right.
our bylaws, where different ones could have some say-so as to what different ones are supposed to do.
Right.
We never wanted to take over as their boss.
I think that's where I done got, out from what I'm hearing today, I think that's where I'm confused, because I was under the impression that you were the advisory board, but y'all was actually taking care of this place.
Well, no, well, that's what it sounds like here tonight. We were
Uh-huh.
supposed to take care of it. Linwood went above and beyond because Linwood knew golf front, backwards, side to side. That I did not. I know my purpose for being on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Linwood would actually go out and solicit these monetary donations,
Mm-hmm.
these corporate memberships. Linwood was the backbone of coming up with these ideas to get the county involved, to get the school involved, you know, so it was not just a burden on the city. He came up with some great ideas. Unfortunately, we're a small town, just like Mr. Tony just mentioned. I was told we got one corporate membership, pays $3,000 a year and has 4 employees that play golf, you know. But they're there for the kids. So it's kind of a rock and a hard spot.
I think that what I'm hearing, you know, is we got the wrong concept of the board, first of all, and now, you know, to your defense, I think it's hard for the mayor to take over that problem. His hands should be full already. So, do we need to address that or look at it again since they were doing those bylaws?
That's one reason,
Yeah.
let me interrupt you just a minute there. A few minutes ago, Mr. Ramey and Tony were meeting in the state, but Mr. Ramey had been wanting to get out and talk with him, and this only happened, say, a week or 10 days, 2 weeks ago, or something. It just happened. And then we were going to, Mr. Bloodworth was going to call a call meeting to address this, and even Linwood didn't want to do that. He said, look, y'all going to have a work session in about 2 weeks. And then when Ramey and Tony called a few minutes ago and said, let's put this off again, I said, no, this thing's been stirring.
Yeah.
Now for two or three, whatever it is, weeks, I said I wanted to come before these people. We were going to have a call meeting, and then we weren't. Now we've held it, and it's here. The thing of it is, the board, the advisory board that you've been dependent on didn't do their damn job. The mayor hasn't been involved and done what he should have done out there. And now, all of a sudden, we found out what the problem was. And in 90 days, we've got that golf course in the best shape it's been in 2 years. It's turning green. The greens, in fact, the one man that left, he said, Mr. Stone, if y'all don't get something to do with the greens now, you ain't going to have a golf course. Well, I didn't know that the greens were gone. Well, we got involved about 90 days ago, and I'll tell you this, that man, unless y'all the boss here, that's the reason I want you to hear this. I want you to get involved in it, and it's your decision, not mine, and not his. That decision's made here. But in the last 90 days, that man and I have put fertilizer, we put herbicides, we killed the weeds, we got the grass growing, we finally dug up to know where the blooming water lines are, we put in where the old electronic system was. If the only sprinkler that was working is if when the wire finally rotted and rusted in two, if the sprinkler was open, it would put out water, but if it was in a closed solenoid position, it didn't work. So that's the reason those things were torn out and put in manual. We now have it where I think, Tony, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think within this week and next, we should be, of course, it will be a manual system. We open this thing and water these 3 or 4 greens in fairways, close that valve and work. He manually will be able to water that golf course, and we will put out a little bit more herbicide. I think the golf course will be in the best shape it's been in 2 or 3 years in another 4 months with his hard work.
That's good.
And along with that, we'll have those mapped as where the irrigation is going and what is working, what's putting out.
Yes, you will.
So, I didn't want to, I'm sorry to force, John, when you called me and asked us to put it off and all, I put it off as long as I wanted to.
Okay.
I wanted this on I wanted this on the table.
We're fine.
Okay, Tony, we'll be, if y'all want him back here Thursday night for any further discussion, or you want him to keep working?
Keep working.
All right, thank you,
Keep on
Tony.
keeping.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Thank you, John.
Sorry about all that, y'all, but I felt like it needed to be done. Thank you, Tony. All right, gentlemen, you've got the budget before you. It's been advertised appropriately. We had our first public hearing at 5 o'clock this afternoon. and that's here for you for your adjustments. The only thing that I do want to mention to you, to bring up anything you want to know or bring about the budget, it's yours to make. That's the proposed, you have a proposed budget before you. The only thing I will tell you is that one or two were told, instructed to put some standard cost of living raises in. We took those out. And there are no raises in this budget as we have it prepared. Since then, I've got with department heads on a what is the system of
Performance review.
Yeah, performance-based deals, and gone down with some departments have been rather eager with looking after their employees' pay raises. For instance, I'll give you an example of the police department. We have been, and this council has been a lot more involved in seeing that the pay scale of our policemen are up to par with other towns so they don't steal our employees and whatnot, and it's been dealt with. Carl and I have looked and worked with some very capable people who's busting their butts on water lines and sewer lines and things through the time, and had some there. And Charles Washington has taken his budget. He's worked with it and lived with it, and he's managed well, as he usually does. And to be perfectly honest with you, as I looked over the pay scale from golf course, airport, street, sewer, fire department, the whole works, the most neglected area that needed the most attention was the fire department. But I've gotten with all departments and looked on a performance-based thing, and it's come up now that we would like to put before you an increase in the budget of approximately, it's roughly, there's got to be tweaked a little bit, but approximately $20,000 that will be distributed on performance-based needs for raises for employees. So we've got to find, if we put this in, of course, we've got to find the revenue. We've got to do a little shuffling and tweaking there. But other than that, let me hush now, and you've got the proposed budget. You know what, I've just told you about doing a little performance-based raises. Now then, y'all take over and perform your duty.
Well, the performance-based raise is the only way to take and do anything flat. We're gonna give everybody 2%, 3% across the board. That's wrong, period. Because if you take and do it like that, not everybody takes and puts out the same. Not everybody takes and does the same job. Not everybody is capable of doing the same job. Some people don't take and put out like others do and perform. So a merit-based increase is the only way to take and do it fairly. Now that might mean that we have a pool of, we're going to say a pool of 5% for a department. That doesn't mean everybody in that department will get 5%. Somebody might get 1, somebody might get 3.5, or whatever till the money's spent. But that's the only way to give a raise. Well, everybody deserves a 3.5% raise. Wrong. I'm sorry, I've preached that till I blew in the face for the last 8 years. And like I said, if we're going to take and do this, that's where the department heads need to make sure you're taking, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, looking at your people's performance, putting out there what they need so you have something to base this merit on and everything else when we do it. And that's the only fair way to do it. Like I said, in the past and gone, when they've done it, 3.5%, 2% across the board, 4% across the board, that's wrong. I mean, if Joe's sitting around doing nothing, Joe don't need 4% raise. Joe might need a 0.5% raise. And that's just being honest. Because I promise you, every one of you people are not A players. There's no such thing. You can have an A team, but that A team's pulled by a lot of A-plus players. And there's a lot of B's and some C's in there too. And all of y'all that are department heads and been around a long time, y'all all know that. So not everybody deserves the same thing.
Thank you, Harry. Ms. Bernice, the city clerk, is also human resources, and she whispered, can I say something? You sure can. Take off.
If you all will remember, when I came in as city clerk, one of the first things that I wanted to do was performance-based raises, based on the merit system. First year, it wasn't a go. Second year, it was a go. It was ranged anywhere from a 1% to a 3%. Some of them even went up 4%. If you go back and you recall everything, that was one of the most fair-based ways to handle each employee. I'm agreeing entirely with Commissioner Griffin here. I do have the forms in my office. It is up to the supervisors to take those forms and go over it, as well as the commissioners that's over that department. That is the only fair way to do it for every employee.
Tell you, you two have perfectly complied with everything that we've done then. Since I mentioned the fire department, and since the chief is here, and he we sat down and we've worked with this, Chief, just briefly, and you don't have to come up here, briefly tell the folks the sort of what we did and how you used your forms and went back and got your records. Tell them what you did.
I agree with performance-based. The only thing I don't agree with is if we do performance-based and we don't have anything available. So if I'm going to, use a performance evaluation, I want to be able to tell my people, if they've done a good job, there's something there. And if we're not going to give you any raises at all, there's no sense in even doing that, because you're not rewarding them for nothing. You just go up there and tell them you've done a great job, pat them on the back, and you're not rewarding them. So I like to make sure, and like I told the mayor and I told my commissioner, if we have something to give them, then I do performance-based evaluations. I've used forms we had. I done this back years ago back in the 90s, we had that. And we had forms that we done our employees. We kind of went away from that for years. And then went back to it last year, year before last, we went back to it, and we utilized those. I like to be able to tell my folks, if you've done a good job, you're going to get something. It may not be a lot, but there's something there. So that's what I've done.
Well, that's what we've done really after we got through, and council, for your benefit, the chief has gone down over every one of these in his department. It's always Carl, and I haven't communicated with the chief lately, but we've only been involved with helping him get his staff where they are now. And so we've done that, and we've come up with a need based on this performance evaluation that Carl and mostly Charles and I work with. We're asking you to approve about up to $20,000, and I'll assure you, in tweaking the budget, me and Ms. Tammy and Ms. Bernice and we can get together and wiggle in the $20,000 and see that the employees get it. The thing that's crippled us so bad this year, folks, as you all know, is that the health insurance, y'all, is just eat us alive. We're self-insured, and it has put us in a very awkward position. So we're coming out of it. If you've looked at your financial statement, and I hope you have, if you looked at it now, the general fund has got $300-something thousand in it. The water and sewer fund's got almost $500,000 in it, and we've got close to $750,000 in the bank, and we're going to pay our line of credit, and we're going to find the $20,000 for these employees if you folks want to.
I think we should, as long as we doing it on a merit-based increase. That's my opinion.
All right, since we've got another public hearing Wednesday and then approved it Thursday night, do y'all want to get this thing tweaked down? I'm going to let y'all, we've handled it so far, I'm going to let y'all handle it here on out. What you want to do with it now? You want to get this thing in form? You want to give me a motion to work the new $20,000 in and come up with a balanced budget, or what do you want to do?
I make a motion that we take and authorize the pool of $20,000 to be split over the departments and everything, providing they are taking and given the increases on merit-based increases.
Well, that's what it is. So you're giving me authorization to implement what we've done.
I made that in form of a motion.
Is there a second? The man second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion about the budget? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of tentatively, the formal approval of this will take place Thursday night. But what y'all are doing is giving me the authority to take this and work it out and get it positioned for final approval Thursday night with this incentive based and up to $20,000, as Eric has said. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll have it ready for you Thursday night, gentlemen. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Okay, number 3, I believe, Griffin, you put this on there?
Yeah, this is, I'm sure all of y'all in your packet and everything, if you look through it, there's a bill in here from Stilla ERMC and everything, in the amount of $9523.38. This is for the actual improvements that were made to the roundabout section down there. Now, at this point in time and whatever else, I know we do not in fact have this $9,000 some odd to take and pay out, but what I'd like to take and make a motion, if it takes, and if the council is amenable to it, would be to take and let's start to pay them $1,000 a month until we can get this paid off.
You make that in the form of a motion?
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Mr. Griffith made a move that we take with the, this is the movement of a pole out on Collins out at the far roundabout. REA moved one pole, just for the benefit of those present that may not know. They moved one pole out there and charged us $9,000. Georgia Power moved poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 poles. They bored under streets in 2 or 3 different places and didn't charge us 1 penny. If what REA done at $9,000, it was $9,000, Georgia Power did $75,000 worth of work and didn't bill us a dime. Also, AT&T rebored, went out of the way of the roundabouts and bored under in 2 or 3 different places. AT&T did way more than REA did and didn't charge us a dime. Mediacom moved all of their lines and didn't charge us anything. The gas people moved all of their stuff and didn't charge us a dime. And REA charged us $9,000. I have begged the authorities, I have begged their board that meets, and they finally decided that they were not going to play ball with us. I called Washington and told them, he said, well, Bain, I agree with you. He said, but what's happened when REA came into existence, they served the rural community and provided rural electric and was a wonderful organization. But now with, we're not as organized through South Georgia and other places we used to be. Said we have created self-governing monsters that do just like they please. And I said, well, I had to call Washington for somebody to finally tell me that. I said, we're going to have to pay the bill, but I'm not going to. He said, I don't blame you. He said, eventually, they will be brought under the same umbrella that others are, and they'll be more willing to work with you. But at any rate, I fought a good fight. I don't regret trying to get them to play ball with us, and now we're going to try this and see if it works. Mr. Kirby, thank you for that motion. Have we got a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Again, to the citizen. In my training, I don't deal with attorneys. Attorneys deal with attorneys. When I received a letter from somebody said they was an attorney and addressing me as a councilman, I don't think that it should have come to me. I think that they should have dealt with my capable attorney. And I thought that this was a little overboard to more or less try to... I don't take threats, with all due respect. And that's what I consider this. So I started to take it down to Mr. Attorney and say, you handle it. Because I don't think that you can call the council and say this, and put it like this. It should have come just like this today and say, y'all owe us, not sending letters around. Now, I'm only speaking for myself. So, anybody else that want to write letters, y'all write the attorney. Not this attorney writing me. I know that sounds, but I'm serious.
Mr. Attorney, you want to help us in here?
Well, I think it should have been sent.
To you.
I don't approve of the way it was done,
No.
but it was a threat.
No, I don't take threats, bro.
Well,
I'm
I went over to
sorry.
Washington and I give up. I fought my last fight with it.
It's a shame that our REA, as good as they are, will not work with the city when the rest of us have done so. So many of them, not only Georgia Power is 100 times more of what they did and participated.
That's right.
But somebody's sitting on it.
It's disappointed me. It really has. It's disappointed me.
Well, it's not to start a conversation, but it's just that anybody that desires to do that, and I'm asking the public, I'm asking attorneys, deal with attorneys, because when you deal with lay people, once attorneys get involved, we was always taught to shut up. you be quiet, your attorney do the talking. So, let's don't write no more letters like that. Let's be professional and deal the way we're supposed to. Now, go back to the vote if you will, sir. Okay.
You wanna reply to that, you wanna keep your mouth shut?
I'll keep my mouth shut.
All right, we got a motion on the floor that we, and maybe, I've got a little something to say about it. I really would like to try this, gentlemen. I know that they're demanding that with this meeting that we respond to this, with this now. But I like Mr. Griffin's motion. I think it's a very good one that y'all instruct me to, and Ms. Bernice to draw a check for $9,000 payable on this $9,000 and send it to them. If they cash it, then we got 9 months to try to come up with the money.
I don't think that's what he said.
Wait,
No.
1,000 much. You
What'd I
said
say?
9,000.
Oh, no,
That's
excuse me, I'm sorry. Mr.
1,000.
Griffin is getting us where we can pay $1,000 a month if they catch that first check.
That was the motion.
Okay, all right, good, I'm sorry, I'm so much going on here, and this little simple brain can't keep up with everything sometimes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor of trying Mr. Griffin's proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll write them a check and try it. Okay, what a mess. You remember, a few months ago, we began to work with Chief Wasden and other needs that we had, trying to get a new well and tank and some distribution lines for our water system. And when they sent the thing, and I looked at our budget, I was already working on the budget at the time, and I looked at what we could swallow and handle. The plan that we got approved for a new well and tank and distribution line going, providing the required services for not only our citizens but the industry around. It exceeded our capability of paying by about $100,000 a year. So I went straight as I could to the county, since most of these industries are outside our corporate limits. And I said, gentlemen, this is what we've got, and one of our sawmills is spending $50 million on a new investment out there, and we need to take in, if y'all play ball with us, we can make this happen. And we met with them, we all went over there, we came here, finally they said no, they didn't think they wanted to play ball with us. And I came back to you and told you, I said, in fact, things laying on my desk now, all ready to execute, if we could have gotten some help with it. I said, I just don't think we can handle it. I think it was 2 weeks ago now, Andrea Taylor, the executive director of the chamber, called me and said, Mayor, is it possible for you to meet with me and Kenny Green and the Beasley folks out at Beasley Sawmill? We want to discuss something with you. I said, yeah, I'd be glad to go out there. So we went out in a meeting with the Beasley group, and their insurance company had got to the point they were requiring them to provide a tremendous volume of water at 60 pounds of pressure, and they had to be able to maintain that pressure and enough water to last for 1 hour in order to open that $50 million sawmill. So they got busy and they placed an order for a, not above ground tank, but a storage tank to handle a tremendous 200-something thousand gallons of water. Right adjacent to that, they had a big diesel pump and a system that would go in and feed that big plant. And they told me that their investment was approximately, I'm not sure exactly now, I'm using round numbers, so don't come in here and the numbers don't, but it's pretty close to $500,000 that they were going to invest out there in a water storage, ground storage tank and all to go into to be able to comply with their insurance company's requirements to put in a sprinkler system. Well, I turned straight to Phil Gerald, and I said, Phil, if you'd given me $500,000, I'd have had a 12-inch, or the city would have had a 12-inch water line out there. And you'd have had, instead of 250, 300,000 gallons that you could pump into a fire and it's gone in an hour, you'd have had a 500,000 gallon storage tank overhead, that's under feeding that line. You'd have had a 500,000 gallons uptown feeding it. You'd have had 250,000 gallons there. That's a total of 1,250,000 gallons and a 12-inch line at your plant. If you'd given me that much money, well, I was afraid to speak up. I said, well, I hate for you to do it. He said, could the city use it? He said, if y'all do something, we couldn't use a mess like that, a diesel pump on the ground with a ground. It'd be totally useless to us. So to make a long story short, and these are pretty accurately what they've told me, and of course they've spent part of the money now. Part of the money's spent, but they stopped. They said, we'll give you, the city, $350,000 if you put that 12-inch line out there. I said, well, I think the city can play ball with you. Because we're not talking about a well, and we're not talking about a tank. We're talking about a supply of water. With these 3 tanks we've got and a supply of water. I worked real hard being an old surveyor and got us a route where instead of going down that roughly railroad track, we could go out there, and we only got Mary Lowry and Grady Floyd, young Grady Floyd, Mickey Floyd's son. Got 2 landowners to get across, go to the railroad, and we're on city property right at the golf course. And I've told them, and I talked to y'all, most of y'all I've talked to you about this. I told them I thought we could put it together, and we're working on it now. We've got Kenny Green that can answer any questions you want to put out here. But those folks need this out there, and we can supply it, and they're going to provide 350 of the 750. Plus, let me tell you this. Of course, she's not here. She's supposed to be here, but she had a sick child. She'll be here Thursday night. Andrea has applied for a loan on this same project for somewhere between $350,000 and $500,000. We may fool around with Andrea's grant that she gets, Beasley's gift to put it out there. Heck, we may make money on this deal. That's an exaggeration, of course. I am trying to insert a little levity in it. But, gentlemen, I've been working real hard getting this route fixed and getting it ready. We can provide them the service that they need, even though the county ought to be involved in this. The county is not involved. But we've got the water supply here. We've already got a line out there. We can supply them what they need, suffice their needs for their insurance with the help that's there. And I'm asking you folks to let's play ball with them.
You want a motion?
Well, yeah, already.
I mean,
y'all are the boss.
I think it's a good idea and everything, and I think it's very feasible and everything too, to do it. Have a talk with Carl, whatever, and spoke with you too. What is roughly, have you looked at it and everything, what is the rough cost for the city and everything?
Take over again.
It's about $800,000 for the water line total. And then there's $350,000 from Beasley, at least $300,000 from One Georgia we're expecting.
Right.
And then the GFA money that the city's already been awarded includes $460,000 in grant money that can be applied to that as well.
So we're looking at...
What we were begging the county to do now that the Beasley's chipped in, and if we get the additional One Georgia money, we can play ball and head in that direction.
We're good. Like I said, I mean, I just want to get a figure out there first.
I'll make that motion to do that.
Mr. Bloodworth made a motion that we proceed to provide the 12-inch water line to the new $50 million industry of Beasley. Mr. Ramey has hastily made the second to his motion. Is there any further discussion?
Now to put a tank there?
No, sir.
No. You won't? No, you don't want to put nothing in the air?
We can't do that now. Can't afford it now. We're gonna let this. We're gonna put a 12-inch line that's connected
to the tank. Yeah.
See, we got a 12-inch line from the Baxter well to the Gill Street well.
Mhm.
And then, from there, see, they'll have a 12-inch line hooking those two almost direct, see, which will put 750,000 gallons. Plus, coming from the other side of town, we got an 8-inch line, see, that's coming
So you
into
don't-
there. So this makes 10 times more valuable than what they were gonna get. And it's, we can swallow it now. Enough said. We got a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You can't get your butt to work. I've got the route pretty well figured out, and the doctor that owns the land is, ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Did you get that through to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you, no, sir. You can go home. No, you can't go home, go by the house and go to work. All right.
Thank you.
As you can tell, the chief is, hot up and ready to go. Proceed, chief.
I was contacted by a man who owns a company called Blue Line Solutions, and they do photo speed enforcement in school zones. That's their business. And, he gave me the sales pitch, and I told him that I would bring it before the council to see if it was something that the city would be willing to do. First and foremost, there is no cost to the city. All equipment is paid for and maintained by Blue Line Solutions. It is a company that's based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and what they do is, first of all, they come in and they do a speed assessment. And they put a device up that measures, it counts cars, it actually, it's laser, it's not typical radar, it's laser, so it's more accurate. They do a speed study, and they have already done a speed study. I told him to go ahead and do one, that way I'd have some data to give you.
Let's hear it.
They did it for...
Can I have some music while you're doing it?
Yeah. So they came in, May the 6th, which was a Monday, and put up the device, and then it ran all the way through Friday, May the 10th. So it was a week while school was in session, and I don't even want to talk about outside school zone hours, okay? Because it picked, in other words, it went 24/7, okay, basically. But all I want to talk about is 7:30 to 8:30, 2:30 to 3:30. That's all I want to talk about. So, in that 5 days, there was 2,623 vehicles went through, and, oh, let me tell you where it was. I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you where it was. We're talking Pat Dixon between the two roundabouts. The device was right in line with the football field, the press box. It was right in there. Okay, so you're talking, between those times, an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, 5 days, 2,623 vehicles passed through. The way they determine the speeding is 11 miles an hour or more. So in a 25 zone, it would have to be 36 or greater. Of those 2,623, 1,138 of those were 11 miles an hour or over. So 43% were 11 miles an hour or over. With the average speed from 7:30 to 8:30 was, in a 25 mile an hour zone, was 39.9 miles per hour. So that's 14, right at 15 over. 2:30 to 3:30, the average speed was 40.3 miles an hour, which is 15 over in the school zone. So here's what these people do. They will come in, they will put up signs that on each end of the school zone. Okay, they're going to put up a sign that's got the speed limit up there. It's going to be flashing your speed coming in. It will actually tell you what your speed is. Once you get inside of that, that's where the camera and the laser is. it will take a picture, it's just like any red light camera that you've ever seen or been a victim of. It will take a picture of your tag or the vehicle tag that you're driving, and the registered vehicle owner gets a citation in the mail. And it's a civil citation, so if it's not paid, this company will contact the state of Georgia through the records, and they will put a lien so you cannot renew your tags, or that vehicle owner cannot renew their tag until that citation is
It won't
paid.
affect the driver's license on the person.
It will not affect the driver's license of the person. The first offense speeding ticket in this case is $100. With the city getting 60% of that, and that Blue Line Solutions getting 40%. Now, if you do the math on 1,138 vehicles in a week at $100 a piece, that's about $11,000 total, and then you're gonna get 60% of that. Now, the goal is not the money part of it.
Safety in school zone.
The goal is to slow these vehicles down, and you giving a warning on each end with a flashing sign that tells you that this is a speed zone and how much it is. Now, in that book I gave you.
You'll collect pretty good the first month or two, but
Right, but and then it's gonna slow down.
They'll get the message.
In the book, there's, and I apologize for not having that in your packet, but I just got 2 of those in the mail today. The man didn't bring me enough of them, so I didn't. So, there's a sample citation in there of what it would look like with the vehicle tag and all that kind of stuff. There's testimonials from other departments that are using it, and there's case law, and there's the actual Georgia law that gives us the right to do that with camera enforcement. I just want to know, because it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of paperwork and a lot of red tape, and because I got to get the DOT in here to make sure we got the school zones right. I got to make sure it's on the radar permit. If it's not, I got to get it added. I just want to know, and you can vote on it Thursday night, look over the book and vote on it. I just want to know if you want me to go forward or not. That's basically, I told the man that I would bring it, and that's basically what I've done.
I'm kinda like the mayor just said, I think within a month, they automatically slow down.
Right.
I know I would if I
Well,
got
I told
hit for $100,
And I told the man, I said, look, I said, you're not talking about, and I wanted him to understand, these are local people. This is not 341 where you got all kind of traffic coming through here. Everybody that passes through that school zone, for the most part, is gonna be a local, and,
but it's the safety that
It's
we're
the safety
considering,
part of it.
the
That's
point of.
That's right.
Is this
We're not
book-
considering the revenue, it's the safety.
Right. Is this, the way it's set up, though, you're telling us it will be during the school letting in and taking in and letting out hours?
It will run
It's
24/7.
gonna run 24/7?
It will run 24/7.
But now the 25 zone is only there for school
7:30
to 8:30?
to 8:30, 2:30 to
And after that,
3:30.
it
Any
goes
other
to
time, it'd be
35.
35.
Right, that's what I was.
So you'd have to be doing 50 or better.
Okay.
Right.
And that'll be happening too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I can show you that data too, yeah,
I'm
it's
sure it's
definitely.
there.
Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna say,
And
something.
it-
I want you to think about it tonight Thursday, but he put it by me and me knowing the situation that we've got. And it's gonna be a little bit of work on the chief's part, but, he's interested in it, he's interested in school safety, and I am too, and we need every dollar revenue we get. I'm in favor of it.
But this laser, it still operates and it still hold that driver, responsible after school hours. You know what I'm saying? This is just like a.
It's just a different speed limit.
Yeah.
Right,
When
right,
it's not
right.
during that 7:30 to 8:30 or 2:30 to 3:30.
Chief Watson, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, anytime that it's not school hours, I need an exemption. If I'm bringing anything, because I'm gonna be.
He goes back for that, and hey, we're looking for your money.
Sometimes I'm coming down pretty fast with blue lights and sirens, red lights and sirens, so.
Hey, well, look.
I need an exemption on that.
Wait a minute. Now, let me tell you this, and we didn't want to, we didn't want to bring this out. This is something we could talk about in executive session, but me and Ken's got a way of handling that, so you don't worry about it.
I'm just asking for a position.
Well, just keep your mouth, just be quiet. Just be quiet.
Are you gonna go get through there on time with them all?
Gentlemen, what you want, if advance wants some advice, give it to us.
Just
Go
think
for
about it. Look it over. And
Can you
before
please,
make a-
can y'all please, for my sake, can you please, how long do they take this to be improvised? How long would it take them to put this up?
Every time school
Oh.
starts.
Okay,
Tentatively, if I can get the ball rolling, because there's a lot of stuff.
we can
I'm
get the
telling
ball
you.
rolling, but can we have can we give these people time to adjust and give
Oh,
them
yeah,
some
yeah,
time
yeah.
to get some
Listen,
feedback
you
on
can't
this?
go writing tickets. You have to, and the company.
But
does
I
it.
mean, before
You
we
have-
improvise it, can we bring these people, open it up to them? Y'all, I see problems with this. Now, I done got a couple of them out of Savannah, that's why I'm saying.
Well,
Okay, and I really think for our people's sake, because, and I'm not putting us down, but we're a small community and we're in the woods. And some of us think we drive good and we can't drive. But if we bring them in here and open it and say, this is for our kids, this is what
This is
we're not.
a moneymaker.
Yes,
This
and
is
let them know
basically-
that this is why we're doing this. Because if you go and pick this up right now and we start, they're gonna say, it ain't nothing but for money.
You have to publish it in a newspaper.
Yes.
We would put it on social media. The company, for the first 30 days, will send a citation to the person, but it's gonna have a red warning wrote across it. That's just that's for the first 30 days.
No, I
That's
ain't
just-
worried about that,
People start
Ken.
getting those in the mail, then that's gonna be another, hey,
No, I ain't worried about that part. My part is telling them what's finna take place out there. This is gonna be something just about like that roundabout. They ain't gonna say nothing till they get that warning, and then they gonna pack up this courtroom. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? They ain't gonna say nothing until they get there.
The biggest thing is, Dwayne, people do not like change, doesn't matter what it is or what it's for. And in this case, because it is in the best interest of the children, for the people to slow down and whatever else, whatever means necessary to take and get them to do, that's what we need to use. I mean, now, and like Ken said, it's not a moneymaker.
I'm not
First month and
against it.
whatever else.
I don't want you thinking I'm against it. I'm trying to head off what I know gonna come behind it.
all I want you to do is think about it, y'all vote Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we'll think about it, and, Ms. Bernice, you were asking about that. That's, you can take, the golf course off of, she's got to be absent and only got a small amount of time now to get this announcement out for Thursday night's meeting. I think you can remove the golf course. We've heard all we want from him right now.
Okay,
All right, with the budget, you'll put it back on there.
yes, sir.
You get rid of the RMC, meaning you're gonna send them $1,000.
Yes, sir.
You can take the business sawmill off.
Yes, sir.
You can put this back on. They're gonna decide on speed control.
Yes, sir.
Now then, so I'm trying to help her, because she's asked me to do this, and I'd almost forgotten it. I'm sorry. Okay, now then, we're on number 6. Ms. Bernice, you got any explanation on why we're
Yes,
not
sir.
here?
On June the 4th, Rory Cheney sent me an email message, and you have this in your packet. It basically explains what she wants to do. She's wanting the council to look at this and basically give the approval for this. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight because of her kid participating in some kind of school function or recreation function, and she just asked me to print this and bring it to the council members for discussion and/or allowing her to do such. But it's asking, us to do certain things.
I think, gentlemen, y'all help me here. I think we can, what she's sort of asking for is some hose drip irrigation type things in the planters to keep those plants alive and all. And I think that's something that we've got people to do, but now let me tell you what, our people are worked to death.
Yeah.
So we just got to find the time, but now I'll let y'all help with that.
Well, now, she stated in here she's going to provide the timers, for it to be watered at night and so on and so forth. So, that's one of the items she did mention in here.
Speak up, gentlemen.
I think we need to go ahead and do it. mean,
I think there's some drip things in them planters.
They were, but they don't work right now.
Yeah.
They're not working. They need to be repaired and put in them. Yeah, we need to give them some water.
All right, let's give the lady who's working real hard trying to work with downtown. She has a great deal of enthusiasm. Let's go ahead and say that we'll get Carl as soon as he possibly can to get over and help her get that stuff into the planters.
Talk to him tomorrow.
Does that suit y'all?
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Okay, you wanna just move on with it then? All right. Mr. Attorney, you've got something on the cemetery ordinance?
Let me just say that I provided this, really not in-depth discussion tonight or even voting Thursday night. I think y'all need to look at the comments I've made and the changes. For instance, Dwayne brought up the thing of what he thought was in the old ordinance. It wasn't, but it needs to be added to this. He brought to my attention. I'm gonna make a few more tweaks to it. But y'all look at this over the next month, and we should have it in shape to pass in July.
Okay.
But what I've done is I've taken the ordinance we've got, and then I've added stuff to handle all the cremain stuff, and then cleared up some stuff. You see that as strikeouts and underlining in that. So, and if y'all have any suggestions, you just contact me direct, and I incorporate them in there, and then maybe we can move on it in July.
All right, let's take that off for Thursday night, and we'll put it back on the July meeting. Okay, let's move on. Number 8, I don't know, I hope all of you have ridden around town enough, and we've covered the town broad enough that there's the smell of new asphalt everywhere. And believe you me, it wasn't put down too quick. Y'all, I told you that I neglected the golf course early in this meeting. Let me tell you something else too. There were some streets that ought to have been paved a long time ago. Now, every time we try to go to the worst ones, but I'm telling you what, we had a couple of streets that just about were not paved streets anymore. And when they got out there trying to resurface, some of it was so far gone that it would have been better if they had a good dirt surface to put it on instead of that broken up mess they were dealing with. We had some bad stuff. But they've done a beautiful job, and I think, Eric, they're through, aren't they?
I think they are, because I think they did huge
They did
today, and
huge,
that was
and when I left earlier today, in fact, I'm almost sure that we've completed, well, they're not through, but we had to, we've only got a certain amount of money. We got $175,000 or $80,000 of money, give or take a little bit, to resurface, and we spent every bit of it. And we put it in the places that it needed the most, and it's really, really nice. And they will be back striping and doing some striping work in about 2 weeks. Let this cure just a little bit and be back. But I'm really proud of it, and I know y'all are too if you've been around any of it. Anybody else got anything to say on our resurfacing project? Okay, this, Ms. Bernice, did you put this on there, this
Yes.
regional economic development meeting?
You will see an email dated June 5th from Miss Andrea Taylor, on July the 23rd from 10:30 to 1:30. And I believe it's going to be at the Civic Center. I'm verifying that with my cell phone right now. It's a regional economic development meeting. Basically, they're going to be covering the census information from 10:30 to 11:30, with lunch and Darrell Moore presenting from 11:30 to 1:30. He is the director for the Center for Regional Impact with Valdosta State University. He'll be speaking about the Census 2020 and successful economic development initiatives for your community. He's the former CEO of the Colquitt County Multi-Economic Development Authority, and he helped start Locate South Georgia, which is a very successful regional economic development initiative. She would like for as many of the council members to possibly attend, and I need to know who will be attending that, as I will have to send you.
I will.
Okay, we're obligated to let her know in plenty of time for this now. Keep that on your mind. And then you can, with that covered, that's July the 23rd, you might better remind us.
Oh, yes, sir, I will.
Okay, all right.
I will keep up with that.
Okay, all right. Now then, also tell the council, now we're on number 10, the state patrol post. Tell the council what we've been able to do since we've completed our short-term loan on the TSP post.
Yes, you will see a copy of where We took funds from the general fund because we had to begin paying bills for the Georgia State Patrol Post. You will see where each check was written out for each draw, to pay these, but you also see a deposit slip. The total amount that was withdrawn from the general fund was $86,500. You will see that $86,500 has been reimbursed to the general fund from the first draw on the line of credit for the Georgia State Patrol Post. Copies of invoices are in my office if you would like to see them, and they are available.
And we did that in such a way that every time we made a draw from the general fund, till we could get all this, our financing arranged through it. And then when we got our financing arrangement made and we had the money in the bank to pay the bills, we paid it back in the same form and order that it was drawn out. So we've got an accurate record that everything has been put back. Right now, our first draw was $300,000, and we spent about $200,000. We got $300,000 set in the bank to keep. We should have we're putting a roof on the building by the time we make our next draw or start to put the roof on. In case you wondered, and I've had several calls, man, what y'all do, decide not to build a state patrol post? I said, you think we're that stupid? We're using, the reason we can build a state patrol post and put it out there like we're doing is that we're not spending a dime on labor. Almost no money at all on labor. Every bit of the digging the foundation, pouring the footing, putting in all the plumbing pipes and doing everything is prison labor, using inmates to do it. Here, about now 3 weeks ago, Greg Gillis, the superintendent, called me and said, Mayor, they've had a calamity at Smithfield Prison. He said they're having to tear up inside the prison a large area of the floor and all. And he said me and my crew are the cement finishers, and I've got to leave, and I've got to go tear that mess out, fix it, and pour it, and I'll be back as soon as I can. He's told me, and I've kept every Monday and every Friday too, I'll call him and see how they're coming. He says that this week they will finally finish up, and that next week they should be back on our job. So that's just part of the penalty you have to pay to get those prisoners doing the work and saving that money. But they'll be back, and the prison will be built, and it's going to be built with prison labor. And these folks that said the foolish amounts they said we're going to have to spend, we're going to prove them wrong. Any questions about that, gentlemen? One thing I do, I think I told everybody maybe, but if I haven't, I'm really proud. When the colonel sent us, in fact, he sent me to 3 places, and I had the company go into, John went to one, and then me and Charles went to one, and I went to one by myself. This unit has grown, thank God. Of course, he told me in the beginning stages of this process that the district lines would be redrawn with this facility being put from McRae down here. And so when we started this thing, and maybe, and I hope I'm being fair, it was disturbing when the superintendent said, Mayor, I've got to leave you to go do something, but I'll be back. At the same time he left, the next week, here comes all these officials of the Georgia State Patrol Post down. Mayor, I want to come talk to you about something. We've decided that we want this place, we want a generator so that if we have a tornado down in Brunswick or something, that this will be a command headquarters for the State Patrol and say, we got to have a big generator out there. Well, there was nothing to provide it. The lights went out just like they do at mine in your house unless you got a generator. So I said, well, heck, they had to put stuff in the floor, and we already had the plumbing put in. And I said, why in the heck didn't you tell me a month ago or something? And I said, well, Mayor, we decided we want to equip this way. And he said, Mayor, I got something else to tell you. I told you they wanted it within a 1,200-foot span out there because of the communication signals. I've said that several times. I hope you heard me. I said, we changed our mind on that. We're going to let this be a set. We want a 300-foot freestanding communication tower out here. 300-foot freestanding, no cables anywhere. Well, you've got to go with 2 4-inch conduits to carry the cables that go to that stuff, plus you've got to have a bore and test of your soil, because that thing is 35 feet bigger than this room, and 14 foot deep to anchor that thing into. The more I got to shake my head, and then the more I thought, I said, well, heck, I shouldn't fuss. It's adding to the facility that we're getting. It's going to be a regional type communication system. So at any rate, to make a long story short, now we're out there digging back in the building, putting conduit and cables off out to a big 300-foot tower that's coming in, and also looking and hunting up. And of course, by the way, and all of this, they're paying for it. This is not adding to our budget at all. Every bit of the stuff involved with this addition to the generator and the switching and all with the storm comes on, and that's expensive apparatus. And the tower and all these expenses, they're taking over with that. They're already taken over with some signs out front, flagpole. I don't know, they're beginning to spend their money, thank God, instead of ours. So, but at any rate, I'm real pleased with what's going on, and I'm sorry to take so much time. Okay, we'll take care of these next 3 consent agenda items next week. Any citizens' comments?
I do.
Make it brief.
I don't thank you, Randy, for getting your street paved. I was in the meeting the other night when you added it, thank you, it needs it bad.
I wish we could pay the whole thing, but we paid what we put, till our money run out.
I got one thing.
All right.
And it was a late addition to the agenda, and I wasn't able to get it on, but Deborah Cornigy needs to go to a training in,
Garden City.
Garden City on July the 11th.
Yes, sir.
Well, we
July the
can
11th, and it's for her GCIC training.
put that on the agenda for Thursday night. You know, Thursday night's plenty soon enough to get it approved, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Any other citizen comments? Commissioners, you all said anything you just got to say? Poor Mr. Johnson down there, he's rearing and stomping to go, and his Bloodworth is down there too. I've never seen 2 more anxious commissioners.
I got,
Just FYI, I'm gonna tell y'all that I will not be here on Thursday night.
I will not be here on Thursday night either.
I will not be here on Thursday night. I'll be at a judge's seminar, but
I'll
I
be
don't
in
know what they do,
Savannah
but.
for GMA, so.
I'll be in Savannah for my work.
Still got
Well, we still got a 4, the 3 of us, by George, we've been on, by George, things that we've been wanting to do. We can get it done Thursday night.
Every night.
Wait a minute. The goat man down here smiling.
I done run my mouth enough about the golf course, so I ain't gonna say nothing yet.
All right, anything else, ladies and gentlemen? I apologize for running over, but as you can see, we had a bunch of stuff to chew on, and I think we chewed it well. Commissioners, I commend you. I think everything that we've done has been fine. Mr. Johnson, I'm ready.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Johnson moves to be adjourned, and Mr. Bloodworth is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adjourned.
Don't pass that.